So in this video, we're going to go through some of the most important metrics for e-commerce. It's always important to know your numbers, but it's a lot of different numbers you can get caught up in. So it's also important to prioritize what key metrics you're going to focus on, and that's what I'm going to show you in this video. So the first very important metric to focus on is something called conversion rate. You probably already know about it, and you probably have a good idea of what it is. But I speak with a lot of different e-commerce store owners, and a lot of them, surprisingly many of them, they don't even know their conversion rate. So when I ask them, what is your conversion rate? They have no idea, and they don't know what is good and what is bad. So when we look at conversion rate, it's important to keep in mind two things. If your conversion rate is not optimal, so that's, let's say, like below 1.5%, then that can be many reasons for that. But one reason could be that you spend a lot of money on traffic, so paid ads, that is not high quality and doesn't lead them to what they thought they were going to go to. So let's give an example. Let's say you run an ad for something that solves a solution, and in the ad it looks amazing and they think that this is their solution, and then they click on the ad and come to your website or your product page, and then they see that this is not actually what they were after. So that could be one reason. Another reason could be you just spend money on the wrong advertising platform, or you target the wrong segment. So let's say you sell a product that are for adults, and kids would, or people younger than, let's say, 18 would never buy it, but you still advertise this product towards people below 18, then probably a lot of people below 18 is going to click on the ad and go to your website, but they're not going to purchase because they don't have the purchasing power and they're not the decision makers of buying products online at home. So that's also one thing to keep in mind, is like how much of the traffic that you have is good quality traffic, and how many of them are actually coming for your products or services. The second important thing to keep in mind when you look at the conversion rate is that the conversion rate can show how much friction it is on your website. So if it's a hard process of actually purchasing the product, if they have to fill out a lot of information and go through a long process, then it's probably very likely that a lot of your traffic is not going to convert right away. So you want to minimize the friction. That means keep everything very, very simple. Don't overdo stuff. Like keep the add to cart button very visible. Make sure that you have enough images and product information, and make sure that the product information and all the images and everything is appealing and actually what the customer need in order to be convinced to go ahead and purchase the product. So a lot of different things can help increase conversion rate, and you really have to put yourself in the position of the potential customer. Like, what are their worries? Like, why wouldn't they want to purchase right away? Maybe it's shipping. Maybe they are afraid it will take too long before the product gets there, so they want to look at other options first. Maybe it's another reason. Maybe it's the return policy. But if they're not happy when they get the product, make sure that you have all these worries, take care of them on the website. And even sometimes you can take care of those in the ads. But you should at least use one or both of them. So that means make sure you clearly state how long it would take approximately before they get their product. Make sure they know what they can do if they're not happy. If they buy some shoes and they don't fit, make sure that they feel confident that they can return that product seamlessly. The second metric that we're going to look at is something called average order value. And average order value is important because, especially if you do marketing or any paid ads, then the average order value is going to be very important in order for you to scale those campaigns. Depending on what you sell, or if you sell services, or if you only have one main product with no upsells, then average order value won't really be a very important metric because it's just no way to increase it. So, but most businesses and most e-commerce stores, they have a lot of different products, and when you do ads and get a new potential customer on your website, you want to make sure that you get the most out of that potential customer. So when that person buys, you want to make sure that person buys a lot of products, not just one product or a cheap product. And ways to increase average order value is upsells. So that could be giving them an option to buy a more popular product with a higher price, complementary products. So let's say you sell cameras on your store, and I put the camera in the add to cart, and then I want to go and check out. Then you can have a little pop-up or something that shows, do you want to add a tripod to your purchase, to your order? And then most likely, since they buy a camera, they probably also want to have a tripod. And of course, this tripod has to be something that goes with the product, like it fits the product and it can be used together. But yeah, that's one way you can increase average order value. And when you increase this, you can also increase the budget spent on advertising, because you're going to get more, you're going to get a bigger return on ad spend. For every customer you get, you're going to have more, better return on that customer. And the last metric that I'm going to cover, just because I want to only cover like the very most important metrics, is the return. So this means how many of your customers, or how much of your monthly revenue is coming from returning customers. This is very important to look at, because you want to, if you want to build a brand and you want to build loyal customers and actually have like a scalable business model, then you have to make sure that you get your customers to come back to you. Because when you spend a lot of money on advertising and you put a lot of effort on getting new customers, you don't want to let that go to waste. You want to make sure they come back. And the way to do that is through email marketing. So when they become a customer, you should have a lot of benefits for also joining your email newsletter. And another thing which is really important these days and becoming more important is so you can have loyalty programs. And you can also have SMS marketing, which is working really, really well for some store owners. And this is because, of course, like it's not too many people use it, and the open rate and the like click rate on SMS marketing is really high. This is because it's not like your SMS, your inbox is not full of a lot of marketing, so you feel like it's more personal. Email marketing has been around for so long that they are bombarded with different newsletters every day. So SMS is also a great option if you want to increase the return percentage. And the last thing I'm going to cover is also very important if you want to have a scalable business model: lifetime value. So your customer lifetime value. And this is of course important. You want, like, it goes hand in hand with the returning rate, the returning percentage of your customers. You want to make sure that when you get a new customer in, you want to have as high lifetime value as possible. And you need to make sure you know this metric, because then you know how much you can spend per customer. So your cost per acquisition, your CPA. So when you know how much a new customer is worth, then you know how much you can spend to get that customer. And then you know how much you can scale. So if you have a lower cost per acquisition than lifetime value, then you can increase your marketing budget. So this is a very important metric. This is hard. this is not something it's difficult to measure sometimes, because you have to measure it over a period of time, and depending on what kind of products you sell and how your business model works, it is hard to, and it takes an effort to figure this out. But you should at least have an estimate of what the lifetime value is for your customers, for an average customer, of course. So when you know the average lifetime value, then you know how much you can spend. And then, of course, you know how much you can scale. So these are very important metrics to focus on. When you know these, then you have a way better starting point than a lot of e-commerce owners, e-commerce stores. So make sure you know these. Put some time in to calculate this stuff. Sometimes it's pretty easy to figure out. The conversion rate should be, if you have a Shopify store, you should know this already. Average order value is super easy to figure out. The return percentage is also pretty easy to figure out. And then also I have all these ways you can increase this stuff. So that's all I have for this video. If you liked it, if you have any questions, let me know. I respond to each and every comment. So make sure you drop a question below and I will answer you. I also do consulting, so if you're interested, it's a link in the description. And yeah, subscribe for more and like the video.